4 of the most important reasons why you need a code of conduct. And again, we did not start off with the code of conduct. We hired people before we had a code of conduct in place. We created this out of a need. So please learn from our mistakes and realize that this is a very important part of your business once you start to grow your team. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. King, where can I go to stay connected with us?
Y'all can stay tapped into the show at them4show.com. That's them4show.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at them4show.
Now, let's get into the episode.
My name is De'Von Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, co-host of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. And with me, I have my amazing, my logistical, my smiling, my eyebrow dancing queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. And yes, I am Director of Operations and Logistics as well for our business. So I think today's episode is super important for all aspects, but especially I think for everything that I see on the back end too. So number 1 is because it sets and documents the expectations, which you've already talked a little bit about, but you talked earlier about how you just assumed that the people that we're hiring are going to uphold what you expect as an employee because you have those values, right? But I literally wrote here, it's funny you said that. You cannot assume your team knows how to be a good representation of your organization. Every company is different, right? An employee at McDonald's is going to conduct themselves probably differently than an employee at Chick-fil-A, right? Because Chick-fil-A invests and expects a level of customer service, right? So they put that training in there. They hire people that have that type of energy. Right. So whatever you set as the expectation is what you are going to get in return. It also serves as an agreement between the employer and the employee. I think it's our agreement that says, this is what we expect of you, right? And it's a way for us to hold ourselves accountable too, right? True. We cannot ask them to do a bunch of things that are outside of this list of agreements. Otherwise, we need to start rearranging what their role looks like, right? But it also serves as an agreement because we do have our employees actually sign this agreement. That is them saying, I agree to uphold these values. I agree to, take these actions and represent your company in this way. So I think those are really 2 of the most important reasons why I think it's important to set and document that expectation. Agreed.
I love how in 2024, this is signed.
Right, it is for sure a virtual signing.
They sign it.
Number 2. It helps you identify good potential employees or potential candidates, right? If you know once you get them into the organization, this is what you're going to be expecting of them. You don't want that to have to be a big shift and change to who they already are.
That's good.
Right? You don't want them to have to change everything about themselves to match this list of expectations. You want it to be part of who they already are. So once you have that list of expectations, you can now start being targeted with the questions that you're asking in the interview, right? And be looking for little red flags. Like if you want a person to be very team oriented, when you ask them about their strengths and weaknesses, if they talk about I don't really do well with teams and I always just like to be by myself and that's great. That's probably good for another type of industry or another type of organization, but not for us, right? So those allows you to really look for how can I set up this interview process? How can I be very intentional with the interview process to find people that already embody these values?
That is an excellent point, Queen, on filtering the interview process. 'Cause I think our first interview process, we didn't have a code of conduct. We didn't have a clear roles and expectations. So we were just hiring off of really vibe and availability, right? If you got a good vibe and you're available to come through, play Black Wall Street, we'll hire you. But now, second round of things, we were able to get really more specific on timeliness.
Yes.
Are they smiling in the interview? What kind of vibe are we getting? Are they educated or do they have, not are they educated, but are they educated on financial literacy? Have they been a tutor before? Have they worked in summer camps before? Get really more specific on the type of people. But then on the flip side of that, once you get someone who truly embodies these things naturally. And there's a couple people on the team that I'm just like, yes, they are Play Black Wall Street through and through. Yeah. You now can like take those people and I want to help them promote through the company and stay because their value, their code of conduct, and their culture is perfectly aligned. So we want to continue to grow with those people. And then there's been other folks to where they join the team. It's clear that who they are is not in alignment, and it takes either a lot of effort for them to try to get in alignment, or they never get into alignment because it's just in their bones. And it's like, okay, well, this is a person that will not be welcome to join the team again in the future, right? So it makes it real easy to make those decisions.
Yes. Anything else to add on number 2?
No, queen.
We flying through. Come on now. Number 3, it helps you hold your employees accountable.
For sure.
This is a great segue because we just talked about like what happens when you have somebody that's not upholding that agreement, right? So one, the fact that it's documented, you have a clear outline in agreement of this is what I expect, and the team member signs it. It also makes it very clear when that agreement has been broken. So right, you now feel comfortable saying, hey, we're not meeting up to this code of conduct, right? You can put it in writing. I do have, in my background, I was a manager over, 30 or so people. So I did work heavily with HR, and kind of like anytime you needed to reprimand someone, you have to have it clearly documented, right? On what is the expectation? What did they not do? When did they not do it, right? Dates, times, you want everything documented, because if you ever do get to the point where you may need to let somebody go, you want to have it clearly documented. Right. This is what the expectations we set, that they agreed to, and on these dates and times, this agreement was not upheld, right? This is where you broke that agreement. And now, of course, we're not jumping straight to letting anybody go, but you can start that process of maybe...
Depends on what you did.
Right, that's true. A written warning or a verbal warning, whatever it's going to be, but you can then outline what your accountability process is going to be as at a company. But you can't really hold people accountable if you never set the expectation of what they should and shouldn't be doing. Yeah.
Very tough firing people or not renewing people, right? But this is a unfortunate reality of being a business owner, being a boss, being a entrepreneur. Yes, you get the privilege of hiring people, you get the privilege of providing value, but at the same time, you need to make difficult decisions to sometimes let people go or not promote people. So just prepare yourself for that, right? You're a boss, you're an entrepreneur, you are a millionaire in the making, and it's going to come with some tough decisions.
Yeah. So I think, again, code of conduct is the step number 1. This is you outlining, this is what we expect from employees. Step number 2 is the accountability piece, which is also important. You don't want to have to be reactive in the moment when something doesn't go right and figuring out, how am I going to fix this? You want to have that process outlined. So again, learn from our mistakes, get that code of conduct, step number 1. Step number 2, what happens when someone does not uphold that code of conduct?
Nice.
Now, number 4. The code of conduct creates company culture and upholds company morale as well. And so I think this part is underrated, but very important. Okay. Let's say you have somebody who is not holding up the code of conduct. They're showing up late. They're not, dressed appropriately. They're not showing up at all. That is going to affect other team members, right? Sure. Because now we've got 2 people that are supposed to show up here. If only one person is showing up, now this other person that's supposed to have another person supporting them is doing the session by themselves, right? They start to lose trust in that partner. They start to, it just adds more stress onto the scenario. So now their morale may start to be a little bit, man, I used to like working here, but my partner, they're not reliable, etc. And I think it does start to affect the entire team. And so I think it's really important for you to, again, outline what's expected. And it's also then becomes your responsibility to hold people accountable for when that's not being upheld, because otherwise people start to get the sense of, well, I can do whatever I want then, right? Because nothing will happen. And then that starts to spread. And I think we've seen that in so many scenarios. I've seen that in other workplaces where if people don't hold people accountable, it just creates mayhem in the company culture, and people don't like to come to work anymore. Right. And we never want to have that type of environment. So I think it is important to make sure that you are taking that step. Because when a team member does not, again, uphold that code of conduct, it does affect the morale of the entire team.
For sure. And I think that's where we initially started using the code of conduct, because we saw a pattern of certain folks not showing up on time, certain folks wearing whatever they wanted, and we were getting complaints from our customers, from our principals, rightfully so. And then we had a little heart-to-heart with the entire team. And we were like, hey, this is what we're hearing. This is experiences. This is our new code of conduct. This is the code of excellence that we expect from you all. We pay very well, right? We pay significantly over minimum wage. We do a lot of like small things that show our love and our value for our team. And with that, we expect that to be reciprocated, right? Because we're going above and beyond as employers, we expect you all to either go above and beyond as team members or at least meet this minimum of excellence with the team. And we had this meeting, and I went in a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I went in a little too much. I got on my soapbox and I really went in on our team just from a passionate standpoint. Like, we're here to create impact. We're here for a very specific mission, vision, and we are hiring you all to be in alignment with that mission. If you can't get on board, if you can't be at this level, this is not gonna be the company for you. And I think after that hard conversation and confronting it, we saw a shift in the culture.
Yes.
Then we had people sign the code of conduct, and it's been very solid and consistent since that point. So again, I think sometimes you do, as a leader of the company, need to hold that responsibility of the culture and not be afraid of confrontation when people are against the company culture. And if you're watching and you also believe in what we do, you also want to support it, what you can do is what, Sinclair?
Like and subscribe.
Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to the M4 Show on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on any type of audio or podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all those things, make sure y'all also follow. That way more people can get this message and get this value. We appreciate you, all right? Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the bag. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag 2 times.
I was like, wait a minute.
Come on. This is a bag. Peace.